BulkLoads Podcast, your number one resource for everything bulk freight trucking.
All right, that's the concept.
Hey guys, Jared Flinn with the BulkLoads Podcast. Got Tyler in here with me.
What's going on?
Hey, thanks for filling in while I was away last week.
Yeah, you bet. You get the opportunity to get out of town and enjoy yourself. So I think me and Tanner had it covered here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Tanner came on and introduced himself. And with our new business, BulkLoads Permitting, man, super excited. And man, just in the past 7 days, we've had a plethora of responses.
It's
which
crazy.
has been overwhelmingly awesome about people that are interested in the services. So if you missed last week's episode, Tanner Batten came on. He is heading up our permitting business. So they are doing new authorities, LLCs, IFTAs, heavyweight taxes. Am I missing anything? Anything in the back end stuff that I hate doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think you're going to bring on Tanner to have a specific episode to just dive into. I'm excited about that one just because there's so much that goes into this. That's what I'm learning is that, each state is different. There are different regulations, the IFTAs you got to keep track of. So I know if I was a carrier, I wouldn't want to be doing any of that myself. So that's why, Jared, you wanted to start this up and Tanner's leading it so we can take care of all that paperwork, all the processing. You don't got to worry about what regulations different states have, and we'll just handle that.
And I'll say this in all fairness, Tanner is a brilliant person. His attention to detail, one of the most trustworthy guys I've met on planet Earth. So yeah, if you have any interest in permitting and want another company like us to look at that, man, we'd be honored to take a look and see what we can do to help you out.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll throw Tanner's contact information up here, but you can also, if you're on BulkLoads, just go to the permitting tab. We have that available on our mobile version, or you can do it on desktop as well. So click that and you can fill out the form there.
This is Matt's week.
It is.
Mid-America Truck Show going on.
We're excited. We got the same booth as last year, so we're sitting at 65120.
Which wing is that? Is that
West Wing?
Yeah, we're in West Wing, and the same exact spot.
Same exact spot.
Next to Big Rig Barbie.
I don't know about that this year, but I know there's a couple different booths that we're next to. I know with the Connexial guys will be kind of right there with us, but this year we actually have a truck in our booth. Zach Curry with MKC, they have a show truck they actually placed at Matt's last year. Beautiful truck. He's gonna have that in our booth, and I think we're gonna have some fun. If you guys have a truck in the show, I was shocked at how many BulkLoads members actually have a bunch of show trucks there at Matt's. But if you have a truck, let us know. Just email podcast@bulkloads.com. Joe's gonna come. He's gonna bring the camera, and we'd love to just do a specific highlight for you in your truck. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, or drop down if you're watching this from YouTube. Drop down in the comments and let us know, man. We want to reach out to you, but yeah, come find us. Please let us know that you'll be there so we can contact you. I'll be out there. If I haven't met you, or if I've met you before, man, would love to meet you again or shake your hand for the first time. I really mean that in all sincerity. I always have to debrief when I come home, meeting so many people.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I get fueled when I meet people. It fills me up.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love meeting, and especially members of our community, or if you have interest at all in our services or just want to come by our booth, we would be honored to have you there and show you what we do.
Yeah, for sure.
So awesome. Well, today's podcast, I'm going to bring on Sean McCarty and Ryan Greenzweig with US Cellular. Actually, these guys were referred to by Jesse Runyons, our freight wizard. Jesse's company, BRB, Ben R. Brown Trucking, they use US Cellular for their fleet management and was just highly recommended these guys. So wanted to bring Sean in and kind of talk about the service they offer. There are a lot of options out there, and we know that there are different operations and different ways to cater to those. So we support, I just want to give a disclaimer. We have a TMS, we have fleet management. They also have one. Conexio has another one. So we're not biased on anyone. Our goal is to give you all the options and let you pick which one best fits you all.
Yep, exactly. That's a good point, Jared. And I think the more we bring on, all these guys that offer these services, just the more our, audience base can see the differences that these guys, like ours, for example, our TMS is really catered to the bulk industry specifically, whereas theirs is more broad to the general freight. But yeah, I think there are tons of solutions, and it's important that we can have these guys on the show to line out the differences.
Yeah. So cool. Well, with that said, here is my conversation with Ryan and Sean of US Cellular. Sean and Ryan, thanks for coming on the BulkLoads Podcast.
Good morning,
Jared. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, Sean, we'll start with you. If you don't mind, give us just a short introduction and bio about you, and then we'll jump to you, Ryan.
Yeah. Yep. Sean McCarty. I'm located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a wireless solutions architect. I kind of help our outside sales teams with some of the non-traditional solutions we sell. Most oftentimes, fleet, asset, cameras, things like that pop up, failover internet, remote monitoring, things like that.
Ryan?
Awesome. My name is Ryan Greenzweig. I'm located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm Sean's leader, lead a team of 7 wireless solutions architects that support all the different segments at US Cellular, from the inside sales group that deals with kind of the smaller accounts all the way up to our enterprise sales group that handles like 500 employees and above. My team designs customized solutions that can increase revenue or drive down costs. Been with US Cellular 6 years, been in the industry like 20 years. So first time I've done a trucking podcast though. So very excited for today.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you on. We got introduced by a mutual connection, client of yours, dear friend of mine, actually, Jesse Runyons.
Yep.
He's become like a superstar on the BulkLoads podcast. We call him the Freight Wizard.
Yeah.
He actually, he's just a wealth of knowledge, specifically in trucking, but we've had him on a few times. But yeah, he had actually really said, hey, you need to reach out to you all, US Cellular, have you guys on the show. They've been very pleased with your services that they use. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that, but then kind of dive in. And you guys have some real life use cases that we're going to talk about. But to start off, and maybe Sean, I'll turn to you, talk about kind of the why US Cellular's involved in this and how long they've been involved with these solutions.
Yeah. We've been helping with fleet and asset monitoring, 5-6 years plus. We are a little different than some of the other carriers because we have multiple partners that we can offer. Some of the other ones own their own fleet companies, so it's one option. We have 5 different options, so we can kind of get in and meet with the customer, assess their needs, and see which partner is best for that.
Yeah. Brian, anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's come a long way. I think back to how dots on a map kind of started and to what we can provide customers now. It's pretty wild how technology has really, accelerated, especially in like the telematics industry. There's so many things that you can do now with a specific vehicle or asset, and as far as tracking them, what you can do with it, what you're hauling, things like that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're on the forefront of what's changing. And like Sean said, the big benefit of US Cellular is, we can really identify, what the customer needs and then make the best recommendation, just because we have so many partners who can help.
Yeah.
One thing we hear common from our customers on BulkLoads is, I'm not very tech savvy. And like there's usually a lot of resistance to that. And one thing we've done as a company is really try to break that barrier down. And we know that because a lot of our truck drivers, trucking owner operators usually are in that older demographic. I say older, like 60-ish and all that, but we hear it all the time. And I think that's one thing I want to accomplish today is maybe helping you all break that barrier a little bit. But to start off, talk about the kind of the series of products that you really offer that would really be intriguing to our audience of carriers.
Yeah. So we obviously help track any kind of vehicle, ranging just from regular fleet all the way up to the large fleet. We have hardwired options. We have plug and play options. So the install is very simple. We obviously offer ELD, but really in the last year or so, year and a half, we've seen the dash cams really take off, like the AI dash cams, because they're forward facing, they're driver facing, they give a lot of instant feedback. In cab coaching to the drivers, if there's like risky driving behaviors, whether that's excessive acceleration, harsh braking, tailgating, smoking, or playing on a phone, something like that. You can get notifications of that in real time to help change those behaviors to increase safety over time. Additionally, we help with the asset piece of that. We can help track trailers, any heavy equipment. We've helped people with ATVs, like you name it, we can help. Porta potties, like any scenario where a customer's wanted to track something, maybe they're renting out long term or short term, we're able to help with that.
To that effect, again, I'm going to give you a little resistance here. We hear, not just the barrier to
Sure.
wanting to use technology, but even the fear and, hey, do I want to have forward or rear facing cameras in my trucks? Is there privacy concerns and stuff like that? What would you say to companies when you hear kind of those barriers?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ryan, were you jumping in? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Sean. You got this.
I heard an echo. I'm sorry. So that's a great question. These solutions aren't there to catch people doing wrong. It's to help, eliminate some of those behaviors that may cause an accident or just not be good for the safety of the driver. We with our camera solutions, we can have the forward facing and driver facing. The driver facing camera can be disabled if the customer doesn't want to deploy that piece. Audio can be disabled, but it's really there just to help in real time, see where a vehicle's at in real time, see if there's a situation, you can see events that led up to that or after that, if there's an impact or something like that. You can wake these cameras up on demand as well. So if they're parked, you can wake them up and see, maybe where an asset's at, if you wanted to see a view of where it's at in the lot or something like that.
Yeah, Jared, if you don't mind, I'll expand about that a little bit. At the end of the day, it's really about protecting that company, because any vehicles that have logos on, if they get involved in an accident, you just assume they're at fault, right? So if you have cameras on the outside of the vehicle, something dash cam to find out that, that driver was doing everything he was supposed to be doing. You can do some accident reconstruction when you have those things available to you. Whereas if you did not have those to you, and in a lot of cases, some of our customers, what really gets them to decide to go with a solution like this is you have that catalyst event, right? Where someone, T-bones them, there's an accident that occurs, and it's like, oh gosh, now I really need to get something to protect myself, because my word against them, there's probably gonna be a settlement involved at that point. No one wants to add that to, the bottom line. So like Sean's saying, at the end of the day, it's not about catching you do something wrong. It's more about protecting you in the event that something happens.
Yeah. One of the other business segments we have is truck insurance that we offer to our ecosystem of clients. And quite frankly, I'm surprised. And I guess I go back, like, you don't know what you don't know, but I shouldn't say it's a matter of if, but when it happens. But man, I am shocked how many more accidents happen and the frequency. And man, can every accident be prevented? Yeah. But like, I think a lot of these carriers know, trucking companies, that they have to do everything to show, innocence, because it's not in their favor. I mean, we can, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with, billboard attorneys and all that, preying on trucking companies. But yeah, to these, trucking companies, they have to take every measure to make sure that they're showing their innocence.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys, if you haven't seen yet, we now offer bulk loads permitting. We have a staff here now to handle all back end, whether you need a DOT number, whether you have questions about your permits, need new permits, anything like those small details, which quite frankly, I hate doing. If you've listened to my podcasts or know a little bit about me, I hate doing those small little back end things. I have hired people over the years to take care of that, so I can focus on growing my business here and growing bulk loads and developing that. And we want to do the same for you. We know that your skill set is growing your business, running the operations and driving the truck. So we want to take care of all those back end tasks, such as your IFTAs, your quarterly filings, annual filings, anything like that, that paperwork that you don't like to do. So contact us now, talk to us. We will get you set up with BulkLoads permitting. It's super affordable. We want to show you what we can do to help you out. Again, allow you to keep growing your business and let you do what's best. And we'll take care of the back end. Thank you and God bless.
Well, let's move even talking about, because safety is one huge aspect of it, but talk about the efficiency and the data side of what you all can provide.
Sure, I can start with that, Sean, if you don't mind. At the start, you can do different diagnostic data, things like idling too much. Obviously, in the wintertime, that becomes a problem. So you can really cut down on costs there. Making the driver just more efficient. The harsh braking and speeding and things like that are only a piece of the pie there. But like route optimization, things of that nature, like you can rely on Google Maps and things like that if you need to, but a lot of that stuff's built into the various solutions we have. So you can find out, like if you're a delivery service or something like that, what is actually the most efficient route to get to all the places you need to make deliveries to. And then there's customizable options too, where depending on, what the customer really needs, we can, tweak the various solutions to be able to accommodate things and at the end of the day, save them money.
Yeah. Sean, anything to add to that?
Well, a lot of our fleet solutions offer a driver scorecard rating. So companies can kind of go in and tweak that. So if, speeding maybe over 5 miles an hour over the posted speed limit isn't that important, maybe they bump that up to 10%. And they can adjust these individual metrics like tailgating, excessive acceleration, harsh braking, and it'll take all those metrics and give their drivers a rating. So a lot of our customers use that to reward drivers. Maybe they'll run a contest where they get a $50 Amazon gift card for the best driver score for the month. We see that happen a lot. We have a lot of customers that their employees take the vehicles home after work. So there's maybe an acceptable use policy there. Maybe they'll utilize some idling reports or geofences to determine if those are being used after hours when they're not supposed to. So just a lot of visibility into the fleet. A lot of that in turn can help on insurance cost or just making sure vehicles aren't being used when they're not supposed to.
Yeah. Kind of talking about the geofence, but even, in our industry, demerge is a big problem. And companies are always trying to figure out a way or solution to how do you reduce demerge or detention. A truck sitting on a lot too long or over a period of time. How can that carrier prove that they're sitting for a period of time? Has US Cellular looked at any methods to help with detention? For truck companies spending a certain amount of time at certain locations?
That's a good question. Ryan, can you think of anything off the top of your head there?
Yeah, I think that would really go into the customizing the platforms. So you could set timers where if something's been there too long, it can alert you. You can run various reports to be able to break down like what's been where for how long, where's it supposed to be, things like that. We don't have anything like specifically geared for that, but I know there has been instances where customers have had these issues and then they've been able to customize the different timers to be able to solve for that.
Well, let's talk about some of these real life examples. I know beforehand we were talking about you guys have some really good stories, and we can talk all day long about the products, but people to see them in action and hear real life examples, I think that's when you really, see the meat going on. But talk about, you had an example of a grain and feed company using your all service for this, but yeah, talk about that.
Yeah. Large company. One of my peers helped with that project, but they started with fleet and they set up geofences at their feed grains where they were loading the trucks, and they set geofences up. So as the trucks got within like a 5-minute radius of the building, they knew to start getting ready to prep that load. So they were more efficient in being able to load that, increase the driver load times and just the efficiency of their fleet as a whole. They really liked that. And then they ended up adding the asset trackers and the dash cams as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
There was another situation, and I was going to mention to our audience, you guys actually work with a dumpster company here in Springfield, who actually one of the owners is actually a really dear friend of mine. I see him on a frequent basis, Carson Buckman. But I actually, through Jesse Runyon, tell me about your all service, kind of recommended it to Carson. But yeah, talk about that situation too, and kind of how it can relate to the dumpster business, but any kind of asset that a company owns.
Yeah. They were a new dumpster company at the time. I think they'd been in business 6 or 8 months. Had a handful of dumpsters out there, but they were manually tracking those. They could access notes to determine what dumpster was at what project for how long. But what we initially started talking to them about was just putting a battery powered asset tracker on it. What it does is it's going to track 2 times a day. So every 12 hours, it's going to ping and tell the location of that device. But that specific tracker had a button on it that they could use when they're dropping these things off. It's going to put a timestamp and a location of that tracker. So that's when they can kind of start their billing process. And then if they want to, when the drivers pick those up, when the customer is done with that dumpster, they can hit that button to kind of pin that. So they were using that. They like it because it's helped them be a little bit more efficient in the way they're deploying their dumpsters, but also on the business, on the billing component of that. Just being able to track when exactly it was dropped off. Additionally, I think they've used geofences for their yard, so they can pull that up and tell exactly what's in the yard at any given time.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40-yard dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was another example about an ATV dealership as well.
Yes. Yeah. This one was a cool one because they had 3 side-by-sides stolen, I think, over about a 6 to 9 month period. Those deductibles on those claims were $5,000 every time they had one stolen. So we helped them and looked at different, tracking options, because some of them are hardwired, some of them are battery powered, some of them are battery rechargeable, non-rechargeable. So just kind of seeing what best fit their scenario. And so we installed a tracker for them. It's going to ping once a day when it's just sitting there at the dealership. But if it's in motion, it's going to ping every 10 minutes. And then additionally, they could set up some geofencing for after hours. So if somebody cut the fence of the property, went in and tried to load one of these side-by-sides up, they would get a notification if that were after hours. They didn't want the notification if it was during hours, because I guess they had a spot there on the property where somebody wanted to do a test drive on one of the side-by-sides they could. So it's not pinging then.
Yeah, that's super cool. There's a couple other questions I was going to ask, but any other good real life examples that you?
Yeah, I got a couple, Sean, if you don't mind jumping in here. Really good one that kind of combines some of the various services. Yeah, we had a customer that, had a fenced in property, had driver and outside the camera solutions on their trucks. Also had some of our stationary cameras that you can deploy around your facility, that connect to the network as well. And someone broke in and stole a truck. So they got alerted from the camera, they got alerted from the geofence. So it's kind of, insurance on the fact that, if for some reason you're not getting one notification, you'll get the other. What actually happened with this customer situation was a police officer happened to be driving by in the vicinity and noticed their truck on the road. And there's like, well, it's 3 a.m. The heck are they doing on the road? Pulled them over. There was a business card in the truck of the guy that normally drives it. And of course, the dude that stole the truck gave it to the police officer to say that, hey, I'm this guy. I just got called in, so I had to do some after hour hauling or whatnot. And the police officer let him go. But luckily they found out, shortly thereafter that in fact it was stolen. And the guy didn't notice the driver-facing camera, so they had all of this, and they showed it to us after the fact of this all happening with the police and everything. So if they wouldn't have had that camera, the various solutions, who knows? Since they were able to fool a police officer, who knows where they would have ended up with that. But yeah, that's another one. Like I said, kind of combines all the various technologies that we have to solve for customer problems. On the dumpster front, we got a couple examples of this, but what we keep seeing more and more throughout the org is actually porta potties and things like that. That's become a really big use case for the different types of tracking. You can make some jokes about that, obviously, that are kind of funny.
Well, yeah, I was saying, why tracking porta potties?
I think a lot of it's around football season and the different types of events that are around, just because they end up allocating the different assets to various lots and things where, the public gathers before those events. And I was going to say, Jared, another one that's become big is we all know how expensive tools can be.
Yeah.
We have a couple of different solutions where you can actually track individualized tools through BLE sensors, which Bluetooth Low Energy, I think is the acronym there. And when you're on a different job site or something, you can make sure everything gets put back, and Mr. Subcontractor didn't walk away with your favorite, whatever power tool. So I think those are a couple of good ones that some people maybe don't think about, but the different type of solutions we have.
Yeah, I guess the more and more I think about, like, I mean, there's an a la carte solution. I mean, for a trucking company, everything from the yard, and the cameras, the security maybe around it, the security in the truck, outside of the truck. Yeah. So I guess they really sum it up. Like, when someone is looking for solutions like this, say they know that, hey, we know that there's solutions out there and I need to be looking. What should they be really looking at, and maybe even kind of talk about what US Cellular provides, maybe that the rest of the market may not, or maybe kind of where you guys kind of put yourselves apart from them?
Yeah, I think just assessing the customer's needs, we want to make sure we're putting them in the right piece of equipment that's going to do what they want it to do. We've met with customers where maybe they had a hardwired asset tracker on a trailer, and maybe it's sitting remotely for a while. Those things have internal batteries, and when they're hooked up to the vehicle, it's recharging that battery. But if they sit for an extended period of time, that battery could be dead. So it's just wanting to assess their needs and figure out like where their vehicles or their assets will be, how long could they be in that situation. So if something happens, they're not trying to track a device that has a dead battery. That's one. Not all dash cams are the same, like assessing needs there. Some of them are just forward facing, some are driver facing, some are both. There's a lot of AI built in some of them. Not all of them are like that, but just really asking those questions and assessing those needs. Like, maybe we're talking about fleet today, but what does that look like 6 months from now? Or are you considering cameras? So we want to put them with the partner that's going to meet those needs today and 6 months down the line.
I think high level on what Sean's talking about is just the personalized touch that US Cellular gives its customers, and that's very apparent from anybody who's doing business with a lot of the big dogs right now. In many cases, you're going to hear from your person before you need something, which is usually the other way around, with some of our competitors. We've gotten back into the habit of trying whenever possible to actually meet with the customer, at their spot. Not only can we really see what they're talking about when it comes to building a solution for them, but that personalized touch of interacting not just over a camera, on a computer anymore, which, still definitely has its uses, and thankfully it's come a long way. But, the repetition and the cadence of meeting with our customers on a regular basis, not just when you need something, I think really sets us apart in the industry.
Sean, do you actually go on site visits? I mean, to help customers get set up if they need that? I mean, especially if they got a 10, 15, 20 truck fleet.
Yeah. So I'm based out of Tulsa. I support reps in 3 different states. So I do travel. I try to do a lot of that stuff virtually just to maximize my time, but absolutely do get out in the field and visit with customers. A lot of our units are very easy to install. A lot of them are maybe they have rare earth magnets or a mounting plate that you just screw onto the heavy equipment. And a lot of our fleet tracking solutions are plug and play. That we do offer some hardwire ones there too, but we have a lot of instructional videos from our vendors that can kind of help with that, and we can jump on a call to kind of plan around that prior to deploying and just make sure we're setting them up for success.
And this is just one kind of question to come off the cuff. Like with US Cellular, I mean, are you guys, as far as coverage areas, are there areas that you're more dominant or covering versus areas that you're probably not? And again, I just say that because our podcast, we reach all 48 states, even up into Canada. So just for customers that are maybe listening and want to learn more, making sure that you guys are in those areas that they are.
Oh yeah, our customers are very happy, with the service they get. The really nice thing about the types of solutions that we're talking about are they're very low data in most cases. So you'll have a seamless transition no matter where you're traveling.
Okay.
Whether you're in Iowa, Tulsa, New York, doesn't matter.
Perfect. And then you'd mentioned, Sean, and I know it was kind of one of our discussion points, kind of just broadly talk, man, AI, it's like the wild, wild west. We're still trying to figure out how AI gets incorporated in all business aspects. I mean, even us here at BulkLoads. But talk about AI in in telematics and how you guys are using that with US Cellular?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, it gives more visibility to the folks that are managing the fleets. It also gives the driver a chance in a lot of situations to correct the behavior before it's recording it and tagging it in the portal. So maybe a fleet manager logs in and they say, "Hey, Ryan is dozing. He's yawning. He's fatigued, or maybe he's playing on his phone or something." A lot of these solutions will audibly and visually warn the driver, like as that stuff's happened. Like if you get in and you're not putting your seatbelt on, it's going to tell you no seatbelt. It's going to give you about 5-10 seconds to correct that. It's going to tell you again. After about 3 of those times, it's going to start recording that and tag that in the portal. So it gives the driver just a chance to fix some of these things before it's maybe being highlighted on the admin portal, if that makes sense. Now, at any given time, they can pull up footage from any time. If they want to pull up footage from, hey, last Tuesday from 11 to 12, they can pull that and retrieve that because it's all stored in the cloud. But it just gives people a chance to correct some of those things that could ultimately maybe end up not being safe, with the driver on the road, especially if they're fatigued, eating, smoking a cigarette, playing on a phone, any of those things.
Doing it all at once.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then go back to the safety aspect of it. Today, I mean, our roadways are getting more and more congested. Again, these drivers out there, there's just a lot more, and in my opinion, that these guys are dealing with today than they ever dealt with even 15, 20, 30 years ago. So I think the more that we can assist them and help them in their daily tasks, it's going to improve everybody, the trucking company, but other people on the roadways and all that. Just to kind of close out for listeners of this podcast that want to learn more about US Cellular, and we'll put the links in the episode notes so people can drop down to that. But what would be kind of the next step if I'm a 10 truck, 20 truck operator and they're like, hey, I think this is something I need to look into, or maybe I'm not happy with my current system and I want to see what US Cellular can provide?
Sure. We do have a pretty spiffy website, business.uscellular.com. We get you a more personalized link that'll get you to a lot of the things that we talked about, Jared, that you could add there. But Sean or I, going back to that personalized touch, anyone could reach out to us at any time and ask questions or say, like, I'm in this area, could you point me in the right direction? Or, hey, I heard that you said this on the awesome BulkLoads podcast, and I want to hear more about that. And we can just have that conversation with them one-off. I mean, absolutely would love to do that, but also in the bottom of that website, and I think there's even a pop-up box now that says, would you like to hear more? And you can fill out some information and have one of our lead specialists reach out to you too.
Perfect. So, well, that's all I got for this. Ryan and Sean, hey man, thank you so much for coming on the BulkLoads podcast, man. We we're always trying to present good solutions and products to our customers so they can be better in their businesses. And again, that we can help them and serve them that way. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I think one of the highlights I thought was just kind of the cameras. We don't do cameras on BulkLoads side, but yeah, talking a little bit about, the cameras in the trucks, that are forward facing and rear facing, but also cameras that they have that you can put at your facilities. Yeah. So if you have a terminal or an office or anywhere that you need cameras, they offer that from a cellular package.
Yeah. And I think that entire industry has come a long way, but the telematics and the AI solutions and stuff, I think a lot of it can scare us. And a lot of us are against, having a camera pointed on us the entire time. But I think if you're running multiple trucks, I think there are some things to consider here whenever you're talking about driver safety, road safety. I think these things can improve on your insurance premiums if you implement these strategies. But at the same time, I don't know how I'd feel on some of those if I was a carrier. They are cool, though. And I think Sean and Ryan did a good job kind of highlighting the importances of them.
Yeah, there's different options for different companies.
Yep.
And again, like I said before, we want to bring guests on and give you the knowledge for you to make the best decision for your operations.
Exactly.
So, awesome. Well, you probably saw in the intro, we actually got some new hats. You ordered these in.
Yep.
These took a long time to get in, by the way.
They did.
I wish, I kept asking you week after week when these were going to come in, but they finally arrived. These are the Richardson 112s hats. Actually, these are the XLs.
Yep.
Which I have a super big melon. Like you can see, I have I think I wear like a 7 3/4 type hat, but these actually fit very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you would like one of them, what do they need to do?
They just need to comment on YouTube and we will reach out. If you're not watching on YouTube, no problem. Just email us podcast@BulkLoads.com and we'll hook you up completely free.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, make sure and get one of these hats, man. We love giving them out and having you represent us. Actually, a good friend of mine, actually our old nanny texted me a picture over the weekend of her husband was wearing a BulkLoads hat, and she's like, look, he's supporting BulkLoads.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm
Very
always
nice.
honored
Yeah.
and flattered when I see that. So yeah, make sure and get a hat. Lastly, we talked about mats this week, but our conference is coming up next month. Anything new on that front?
Yeah, we're getting closer. If you guys don't know exactly what's going to be going on,
We're sold out of tickets, right?
we are not yet, but we're getting close.
I'm kidding. We're not. We want you there.
Yeah, we are. So if they go to bulkfreightconference.com, you can still secure your tickets. I've had some people reach out saying, they don't want to miss out, and they're saying, this is planting season. I don't know if I'll be able to make it up, but if I can, if it rains or whatever, I'll definitely be there. But they're kind of worried if tickets, will be 100% gone by then. And I'll say this, you can buy tickets all the way up to the week of the conference. I would recommend you getting them as early as you can. But if you need to wait until you for sure can make it, you can buy tickets up until the conference.
And if you have any questions, reach out to us. You can comment to podcast@bulkloads.com or Tyler@bulkloads.com. I know the Anglers Lodge, which is right next to the conference center, it's already sold out, right?
Yep.
But we have other options for you to use. So if you have any questions about travel and accommodations here, man, give us a call, man. We'd love to help you out in every way we can to make sure that you're here and have an amazing experience.
Yeah. We got some really good content lined up, Jared. I think, we have the CEO of Sap Bros. He'll be speaking. We'll have some shipping companies getting on stage doing some presentations specifically saying, here's what a shipping company looks for whenever we're working with an owner operator or carrier. And then we also have some broker guys that'll get up on stage, and then we'll have a lot of panel discussions that'll bring in shippers, brokers, carriers, and owner operators, and really just get all angles of the story to where everyone can hear each other out. So I'm super pumped. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, we'll have a live band the first night.
Oh, yeah.
A good friend of mine. He plays a lot of, different varieties of old country. I've told him to practice his trucker songs.
Yeah.
Incorporate that. So we got that going on. That entertainment, but also it's going to be at the Bass Pro, right behind the main mothership store, which is right next to the Wonders of Wildlife. So we'll have tickets to get into the Wonders of Wildlife. So there will be a lot of things, just even entertainment wise, to experience. We know people are coming into golf. We have a lot of golf courses around here. Contact us if you have questions about that or interested in golfing. We can help you out on that.
Yeah.
So bulkfreightconference.com. It's coming up soon. Get your ticket now. You will not regret it. I promise you that.
Yep. Jared, before we move on here, we're going to go ahead and highlight a truck feature. I think we forgot
to
to
do that in the intro. Oh, man, I'm glad you brought that up.
But we have Franklin Pruitt with FE Pruitt Transportation. He has been a member with us since 2022. Franklin is also he uses our factoring company, Smart Freight Funding, and also he uses our bulk insurance. So he's kind of using us for some different services. So thank you, Franklin, for doing that. And this picture that Joe's going to throw up, it's
night photo.
Slick rig. Yeah. He's got that chrome hopper on the back with that red rig. So it looks really good.
Yeah. So thank you, Franklin, for being a member, not just on BulkLoads, but also on our factoring and insurance, man. Just thank you for being supportive of the BulkLoads podcast.
Yeah.
So awesome. Last but not least, before we close out of here, we always want to offer prayers up for our community. if you have a prayer request, and we had just a couple come in this last week, and we want to pray for you, we know that God answers prayers when we petition up to him. So we always want to make an effort and extend that out there. Everybody's in a different phase of life. Everything may be going great right now, or there may be some issues on there. But man, we would like to pray for them. So I'll close this in prayer, and then we'll close out of here. Okay. So Father God, we love you. Lord, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for springtime, and man, just the blessings that you have given on us and our community, and this industry that we serve, feeding people and animals, and transporting goods across America. Lord, we just lift up those that are hurting out there. We lift up Terry, battling cancer, Lord. We just pray for healing specifically over him, Lord, that you can surround him and his family, and most of all, give him peace. And that, Lord, we also just want to lift up other members out there with diseases or illnesses that they're facing, maybe family issues with fathers, sons, daughters, wives, aunts, and uncles, maybe business decisions that they're trying to make. Lord, we just pray that that your blessing be upon them, that your Holy Spirit lives in them. Lord, just be with us as we go out through this week, and to our members out there that are traveling on the roads. In your heavenly and precious name, amen.
Amen.
Before we get out of here, I always forget, make sure and subscribe down here in the left corner. You'll see a little subscribe button. That way you won't ever miss an episode. And man, if you found value in this, we would be honored, absolutely honored, to just click the share button. And man, if I can give you just one request this week, just one simple favor, share this just with one person for me. We would love to do that, and pay it forward to those out there. So thank you very much for listening to the BulkLoads Podcast, and God bless.